winners and then we say let's go. So come on, it's time to watch the show. We're talking hardball, Ken Griffey's grotesquely swollen jaw. We're talking hardball.
The postseason of baseball is certainly alive and well. Quite the drama yesterday on the opening day. We're going to continue it here on this live edition of Betting Weekly Hardball. I am Doug Kezirian alongside professional handicapper Albert Nguyen, who you might know on Twitter and other social platforms as Analytics Capper. We have a game underway that we're going to monitor just like we did yesterday. Albert, how are you, my man?
I'm doing great. I swept baseball yesterday, so this show comes at a perfect time. So let's keep it going today. I'm on the Guardians on this first game. I know it's 1-0. It's still early, so hopefully they can close it out for me on the show.
Yeah, what were the plays yesterday you had? Because I merely took Red Sox series price, so obviously the good plus money. Then Giolito news comes down later. Of course, that doesn't help, but nonetheless, a good position to be in. What are you on here?
Yeah, I was on the under on the first two early games, which got there really easy. On the over on that LA Dodgers game, which also got there very easily. And I took the dog in the Red Sox Yankees game, so I was happy with Boston's comeback there.
That is good to be able to discuss because I like unders as well. The first three games went under. Then it was explosion of offense later for the Reds as we talked about that bullpen. Wes and I asked him, I go, look, is this the same situation where in the late innings you should just bet Reds team total, Reds, things like that? It's something we're definitely going to get into later on the show. Right now, we have a 1-0 game, a pitcher's duel, if you will. The live total down to 5 as they head to the top of the fourth. It's 1-0 Cleveland. Got a home run in the bottom of the first, top of the first. Detroit got the first two runners on, but unable to scratch, so they remain scoreless. A lot of wind right now in Cleveland. Bibby's on the bump. Guardians trying to avoid elimination. Skubal was fantastic yesterday. Career high 14 strikeouts and leadoff triple, let's call it, but with an air at the bottom of the ninth, but they could not tie the game. Just a wild game, but that's what happens when the Tigers and Guardians get together.
Yeah, it's they've been facing each other a lot now in the last couple of weeks. So it's not new territory for any of these teams. They're very comfortable with each other. And excuse me if I have one eye on the game because I am watching it live as well on the TV screen. But I'm excited to see this series extended. I don't want it to end in 2 games. I want to see a game 3. You mentioned it. The Tigers got the win yesterday, and Skubal did exactly what he's supposed to do, being the ace, being the Cy Young contender that he is. So that game, in my opinion, meant more to the Tigers than the Guardians. The Guardians, you said that they almost stole it at the end, but to no avail. I still like them today, so I do like them to even up the series today. Again, they're at 1-0 right now.
Okay, I am keeping an eye on things as well. The live total, as I mentioned, is now 5, and Guardians minus 278. As again, we bat in the top of the fourth. Nobody out right now. So we'll continue to monitor this game. By the way, if you like what you hear on our show, sign up for our newsletter, get exclusive tips and the free Insider magazine. Sign up for free at bettingweeklystudios.com. So I mentioned my run that I'm on yesterday. I guess it's still intact because we had no graded plays. I'm 17-7-1 over my last 25 plays, which is 12 shows, right? So we're going to hopefully get there with some plus money with the Red Sox if they can hang on. Let's talk about those Boston Red Sox. Bayo on the bump for Boston against the Yankees. Rodon gets the ball to avoid elimination and continue their season. Obviously, Aaron Boone under fire for taking Max Fried out of the game and going to the shaky bullpen. As Dan Patrick said on his radio show today, it's one thing to go to Wetland and then Rivera. This is not exactly the case for the Yanks. Now, Red Sox now significant favorites on the series price, $1.95 as they would have game 3 at home if necessary. But right now, the Yanks are favored at home for game 2, $1.82 favorites, over under 7.5. So obviously Chapman got himself into some trouble, pitching extra batters and length but he got out of it as the Yankees had the bases loaded, nobody out, and could not get anyone home. And I know they were down 2, but still not to get a single run. Pretty remarkable. I like Rodon. I wonder if there's a locker room kind of hangover or whatever you want to call it, the fact that he pulled Freed and things like that. So there's 2 components. Does Rodon think he has to be perfect to stay in the game? Probably not. He's an adult. He's a veteran. He knows what he's doing. And I think the offense will be fine. The question is, can Bayo hang around and keep the Red Sox in it? I usually like Bayo at home, just kind of a anecdotal sort of handicapping. I can't lay 182 here, but this Red Sox lineup's nothing special, all things considered, for me.
Yeah, I think the Red Sox are here because of one reason, and that's Alex Cora. I think he's a great manager, and I think they have a big advantage in this series. It doesn't matter how you think of the managerial staff for the Yankees there, but I just think they're outmatched. With that said, though, Doug, you were on the Red Sox prior to the series. This is a good opportunity for you maybe to get on the Yankees series and get plus money on both sides. It would be free money, if you will. But for this game in particular, I do think the Yankees are going to extend the series. The bats, outside of yesterday, they've been really, really good the last 2 weeks. And I think they went into the playoffs in great fit, in great form. And I think we're going to see that today. Brian Bello, if you were to ask me about him 2 years ago, I was very high on him. I think there was a lot of value in betting his games, not only at home, Doug, but even on the road. But since then, he just hasn't been the same pitcher. He hasn't been, as confident. And you'll see him, honestly, early in the innings. If he walks a batter or 2, or he gets extended, for a couple at bats, you're going to see him kind of sweat it out. And I think that's when the Yankees are going to pounce. So I like the Yankees here on the run line. I think they take care of business, and we'll see a game 3 in this series.
So you like him as an official play, minus $1.82, even with the shaky bullpen, even with the, I don't know, drama with Boone's decision yesterday?
Make it the run line so that I don't have to pay the 182.
Okay, so run line for you with the Red Sox, and that is, sorry, the Yankees, and that's plus 123. So you get some plus money. Yeah, I thought about just taking the free money, the free candy, because of the Giolito injury and things like that. But I like early going at home, the youngster for Boston, if it gets to a game 3. So I'm okay with the Red Sox, because what's going to happen is they're going to be favorites or a pick 'em or something like that. I don't think they're going to be big home dogs where I would have to eat the juice. So I kind of have a free shot on the Red Sox today for that series price. But that's the thought process as to why I'm not just getting out of my bed, taking the free money. I'd rather roll the dice a little bit and still be able to get free money. And I can always hedge in game. That's the other thing. Let's say the Red Sox get up 1-0, and then it's Yankees pick or something like that in the 3rd inning. I can grab, Yanks minus 110 or something like that. So there's ways to continue to handicap and evaluate and still hedge, right? It's not just binary. It's not just 1 or 2 options. I can hedge during the game. There's series prices maybe during the game if the odds makers at Bet Rivers get frisky. So there's a few ways to play this, and that's why I'm kind of holding my powder at this point still. So that's the thought process. But by no means do I think the Yankees are done. They had won 8 straight coming in. Obviously, they blew the game. Things like that have you thinking. So I will continue to monitor the situation, if you will. Just a reminder for Bet Rivers, you can get up to a 100% profit boost on your MLB same game parlay today. Opt in at Bet Rivers and get your MLB midweek profit boost on any same game parlay with odds of plus 100 or longer. Check the Bet Rivers app for full details. Keeping an eye on things, we have a runner on 3rd and 2 out for the Tigers trying to get on the board. I obviously am handling things here, so I did not see how they got a runner on 3rd, but certainly a big situation. Albert, can you inform our listeners?
Yeah, it was a double. It's a 1-out double. The outfielder misplayed the ball, actually, so he was able to get into 2, and then for the 2nd out, it was just moving the batter forward. I do want, I guess, a question of clarity, Doug. I think the home team hosts all 3 games, right, in the wild card, just to make sure.
That right? I thought it was 2-1. So it is a home all 3. Okay,
Yeah, I think
you're right, because
in New
there's
York,
no. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so that would make a lot of sense. I'm glad with the clarification. You're right. That is the case. I've lose count of this stuff sometimes. So thank you for clarifying. That is true. So the Yankees would be favored in Game 3. So yeah, playing with fire a little bit in that regard, but I'm okay. We're here. Um, we're here to play with fire a little bit. Checking in on the conversation. Amish electrician. You know, we had Amish farmer. We got an Amish electrician now in the chat. He says, "Get it, Doug. Go Sox." So he's rooting for Boston in that regard. And please always join the conversation. Let us know your thoughts, whether it's a game that's going on right now, questions you have, questions about bets coming up later, positive, negative, whatever, you name it. Feedback, and of course, we always appreciate the constructive criticism. You never need to be enemies here. So, what's crazy is this wind. Is you said the outfielder misplayed it, Albert? Was it wind aided at all by chance?
It might have been. It was a one hopper that he let go past him. I think it actually just hit him in the body. I wasn't watching it completely, but you're right. The winds are swirling, and we just had a foul ball to right field that the right fielder wasn't sure if he was going to catch it or not. So, the win is definitely an issue right now. It's a full count, or it's a 2-2 count with 2 outs left. I'm hoping Bybee gets out of this small jam here.
But you can see the wind on the jerseys of the players, so that's how noticeable it is. You know, it's just pretty crazy, and we'll see if it's going to lead to some misplays in the outfield. So you like the Yankees run line? You got plus money, which is always nice. And I tell you, Rodon's been so solid. He hasn't given up. He did give up 3 earned in his last start, but before that, hadn't given up anything. 1 and 2 runs the last couple months. So really, what the Yanks needed in that regard. Let's go to the Cubs Padres. Padres jumped out 1-0 yesterday. Wes on the show was on them plus money, but then the Cubs answered with 3 unanswered to get the win in Game 1. So now the Cubs hand the ball to Andrew Kittredge. You know, there's no Horton now. That was a big blow to the Cubs the final week of the regular season. Their youngster at Oklahoma, he was their ace, and he's out with an injury. So Kittredge goes, and then Dylan Cease goes for San Diego. This one's on ABC, top of the hour, 3 Eastern. And really, curious how this game, it's a pick 'em essentially. Cubs minus $1.14. And both lineups leave a lot to be desired. San Diego should have the better lineup, but they just have been unable to hit. And it's really remarkable how ineffective they've been the last month or so. The Dodgers left the door wide open in the NL West, unable to take advantage. And I just wonder if they're just a dispirited group, kind of like we saw them last year in the playoffs. Once they blew that Game 4 against the Dodgers, they had nothing in the closeout game, and they've been sort of meek since then, all regular season and now.
Yeah, I think the line is telling me a lot here, Doug. You have a big name starter, people who's been around this league and betting baseball. They've heard of Dylan Cease. The people have not heard of Kittredge. Kittredge is a bullpen guy, a relief guy. He's going to be out there maybe for 2 innings max. The fact that they're favored, I know they're at home, and I know that they've been the better team all season. But I think to me that's a big tell. So I'm actually going to be on the Cubs again. I was on Cubs Game 1 with a lot of the professional money on the Padres as a live dog. I'm going to be on the Cubs again here in Game 2. Dylan Cease just doesn't do it for me. He's lost 2 straight starts. One where he was a minus 180 favorite. Maybe he's better as an underdog. I'm not sure, but he just does. He plays around with his food too much, if you will, Doug. I mean, he's averaging over 2 walks a game in only 5 innings. I think if he continues to do that against the Cubs in that ballpark with that crowd, I think it's going to be, problems for San Diego. You mentioned it, the Padres lineup, a lot to be left desired for, a lot of big names, a lot of talent, but they just haven't really produced where we've expected them to be. And I just think the Cubs just end the misery this season for the Padres. And on top of that, as a follow-up, I think the Padres are going to have a lot of movement this offseason, in my opinion.
Regards the big bats or pitching, front office, managerial?
I think all the above are on the table. I think they've gone in all in now for a couple seasons, right? To no avail. They made that huge Soto trade to no avail. Last year, they were supposed to beat the Dodgers right before that big choke in Game 4. And I think it's time to kind of just hit the reset button, in my opinion.
I don't doubt it. Management and everything went after Trout a handful of years ago, maybe like a decade ago. There were some talks about a huge trade, all the prospects, including Tatis Jr., things like that. It's hard to be sort of, I don't know, the little brother, if you will, up the road to the Dodgers, but that's been the case. Dodgers have won, what is it, 12 of the last 13 divisions. And the Giants, franchise record wins was the only reason they beat the Dodgers that year, although LA got them in the playoffs. I think they just need a hard reset, but I also think there's growing pains. You got to crawl before you walk in the playoffs in all sports. And so people were expecting big things last year. I think Dylan Cease is going to be great in this game. So I do lean to the under here. I love the Padres bullpen. Who doesn't? 6.5 is a very low total, but it's playoff baseball. Do you have any opinion here on the total?
Oh, I'm already on the total. I know the game hasn't started, so I can make that an official play here on the show. But I've already sent it out to my friends and family. I like the under in this one as well. I'm just not confident with either lineup. And if I had to choose it, I would rather have the back end of the Cubs lineup than the back end of the Padres lineup right now.
Yeah, so I'm going to play the under as well. I like the under here. I think 6.5 minus 110 is a good play. So I'll take that. Just straight coin flip juice minus 110. Meanwhile, the Tigers have loaded the bases, got some walks, some nibbling by Bybee. First pitch with the bases chucked to Baez is a strike looking in the zone. So we have an 0-1 count with Bybee in a jam, but pitching with 2 outs here. So you got a 1-0 lead and 2 outs. So certainly capable of getting out of it if he's able to buckle down and just focus. And that's the beauty of the playoffs. You can really, really sort of just lock in and the pressure mounts. And I said this yesterday, but it's worth repeating. Playoff baseball, if you're a fan, takes years off your life. Betting baseball at any point in the season takes years off your life. So betting playoff baseball, you name it, it is certainly stressful and gut-wrenching. But it can be certainly really compelling. But the Tigers do strike. They get a base knock. Baez singles to center, and the 2-run score. So Tigers take a 2-1 lead. All this a 2-out rally. So a big rally from Detroit. Obviously looking to finish off the Guardians. Down 1-0, get a 2-out rally. So now it's runners on the corners against Bybee. 2 outs still. Detroit now has the lead 2-1, and the odds are certainly changing. Tigers are now becoming the favorite. We'll get you the latest line in that regard. Do you see anything you want to hop in on here?
I do not. I mean, on this first game, I am on the Guardians and I'm on the under. So hopefully that splits for me. Hopefully I can get the win. Maybe it's a 3-2, 4-2 finish. But right now, no overreactions. I just want to see how the next inning or two plays out, and then maybe I can fire then.
I mean, it's one pitch here and there. This was a 2-out rally. Play at the third, and he's going to be safe. They might be reviewing it as looks like we could be going second and third with 2 outs. Yeah, that's where we have second and third, 2 out. So Tigers trying to put up a really crooked number. They have 2 already, so they're reviewing the tag at third. We'll keep you posted on that. And that's why there's no line right now at Bet Rivers. Reds and Dodgers, certainly fireworks. Early and late. Dodgers with Blake Snell on the bump. He allowed 1 hit through the first 5. Hunter Green got touched up. The game started with an Ohtani dinger, and it was all Dodgers. 8-0, I believe, the lead, but then the bullpen started to give up runs. It was 10-5, and that's sort of what we expected. And the bullpen woes continue for the Blue Crew, and they have Yamamoto on the bump with Littell going for Cincinnati. Wes was on the show yesterday. Gave some pushback in terms of the decision on who to pitch by Francona, who obviously knows what he's doing. Series price ain't cheap if you like the Dodgers to win one of the next 2 games at home. Minus 1430 with Yamamoto on the bump today. They're minus 286. Run line is tempty with this offense. Pajes goes yard. Edman went yard. He was the NL MVP or NLCS MVP, I should say, last year. There's a lot to like with this Dodgers lineup, and Yamamoto on the bump. Hard not to think run line here.
Run line is good, but it's a little scary, right? It's hard to back that Dodgers bullpen. We saw it again last night with Blake Snell. We've seen it all season long, even with Yamamoto on the bump. And if you haven't been following how he's pitching recently, he's been lights out. If you look at his last game, Yamamoto has only given up 3 earned runs in 5 games. Um, you know, basically 7 innings pitched in those games, over 100 pitches on average, only 1 home run in those 5 games. He's been unbelievable with a sub 0.80 ERA. So he's going to be really tough to hit. But Cincinnati getting those runs late in the game, I think, is going to be really important. I think it helped their belief, it helped their confidence. But I agree with you. I think this is Dodgers or nothing at all. I think maybe they were not that they were slow playing, people, at the end of the season, but they have won 6 straight games now if you include yesterday, and their bats are waking up. The big three, right, with Freddie Freeman, Otani, and Betts, they are swinging it really well. And if those threes are clicking, the Dodgers are favored to most likely win the entire thing again. I don't think there's any value. Usually I try to side with the underdog to see if there's value. I just don't see it today. Not only the shaky pitcher with Littell, who's basically a 5 ERA in his last 5 games, barely goes 5 innings, averages under 85 pitches a game. If the Dodgers get to him early after yesterday, where the Reds had to throw in a lot of relief pitchers, it's gonna be trouble for Cincinnati. So I think if the Dodgers get them early, it's a live bet on the over, because I'm going to be fading not only Cincy's arms, but also the Dodgers bullpen. So that's the way I'm going to look for this game.
I have a play on this game momentarily, but I want to update everyone what's going on with the Guardians. Without the sound, I think I have it all figured out. So the Guardians challenged the play at third. It was a tag in time, so the runner going from first to third is out. And replay showed that that third out occurred before the runner from second scored. So because the runner from first to third got a little greedy, there was not a play at the plate. It would have been an easy 2 runs. Instead, it's not a crooked number. It's just 1 run for the Tigers. So we are headed to the bottom of the fourth, 1-1. Detroit got a run there. So it's still a 2-out rally, still a nice job. But if that runner stays at second, goes 90 feet, that runner from second scores easily because of the way the ball was hit relatively softly. So instead of 2-1 Tigers and still batting with 2 on, it's 1-1 and end of the inning. So a monumental shift here. The live lines will adjust. Guardians will remain or return as the favorite. And I bet you the live number is going to stay about 6. That would be my guess here. It was 5.5 going into the inning. I don't think it's going to change drastically here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't fault the Tigers, runner from second base going home. It was a really slow dribbler into center field. Give props to the Guardian center field. I think DeLauder, right? Give props to him with a great throw to the third base. That lefty throw, caught the guy off guard. So 1-1, I don't think people realize how big of a difference that is. A tie ball game in your home stadium, you're still going to have the bottom of the innings, as opposed to playing from behind down 1-2. So that's huge. And, that puts my bet still very, very alive in both the Guardians and the under. So I'm very happy with the last, 3 minutes.
Yeah, and they would have had 2 runners on still to keep maybe more runs scoring. So instead, that's not the case. So it's 1-1. The live total is 5.5. So I think 7 flashed. Then it went to 5.5. So certainly a big difference there. Jose Ramirez leading things off in the bottom of the fourth. The count is 2-2. Excellent defense by Cleveland on that play. You mentioned just everything, the tag, the relay, everyone in position. That's the beauty of baseball that maybe lost a little bit on this next generation of young kids playing, but it was such a fundamentally sound execution by the Guardians. So really nice job in that regard, and maybe some momentum as they try to turn the page and build on that into the bottom of the fourth with their big bats in the lineup. Middle of the lineup, 3, 4, 5 do. So I mentioned I have a play on the Dodgers. I'm not going to mess around with the bullpen. It's all Yamamoto for me. It's pricey, but I think it's worth it. I'm going to go run line for the first 5. I'm tempted to do the game line because you just want more at bats with the Dodgers. But again, you only get 8 innings at home in theory. So I'm going to do first 5 run line minus 182. The Reds lineup, for obvious reasons, doesn't scare me. We saw the stats. Wes mentioned it yesterday. Not a single regular hitter batting over 270. They just don't get the job done. They were a frisky home team, all things considered, but frankly, the Mets should be in the playoffs but drop the ball. Give the Reds credit for getting here, but they're certainly overmatched. And I'll play Yamamoto and the Dodgers offense. That's what I'll back. And I'll lay the hefty price minus 182.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Gavin Lux, he was what, the 7th or 8th best batter on the Dodgers, and now on the Reds, he's
Right.
basically the 2nd best batter. So that's the type of difference in terms of quality we're talking about here. So I like that a lot, and I mentioned already, Yamamoto has been dealing, and not only the last 5 games, but he's had a great season after coming back from injury. So this is the reason why you sign him, right, from Japan. This is the reason why you bring in, spend all that money is for these big games, for these big postseason games, especially at home where you're supposed to take care of business. So I can't talk you off the Dodgers. I can't talk you off the first 5. They're the better team, and I think that's why I like postseason baseball. It's less. I guess there's less luck, if you will. I don't know if I don't want to sound like I'm the guy screaming from my front yard and not liking baseball betting. But I think in the postseason, baseball is just, in my opinion, a little bit sharper, a little more predictable. You mentioned it. There's details that teams are a lot more focused on, from how they work the count, how they play defense, how they shift things. I think it's just the better teams rise to the top here, and that's what I like from a betting perspective.
Jose Ramirez works a 9-pitch walk. He's on, and I believe the Tigers are going to the bullpen. So bottom 4, leadoff batter on first, still 1-1, and nobody out. And so the Tigers are going to the pen, all hands on deck, so to speak. I want to go back to the Dodgers. Any props that maybe catch your eye? We know about the bullpen. We saw what happened last night. The team total for the Reds could be interesting, just given they could get to the Dodgers in the back end. Over 2.5 is minus 125. I think that would be a silly bet with Yamamoto on the bump. At least bet a team total in game later on. Maybe it's over 1.5. Pick it up 4th inning, something like that. Of course,
Yeah,
it happens.
definitely wait until after Yamamoto, just because of how high I am on him. I mean, with that said, you are paying a huge, luxury, a huge, tax when you're backing a guy that's pitching so well. To me, I'm looking at the Dodgers batters, just because I'm not very confident on what Cincinnati's going to throw out there on the mound. Basically, if you look at Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, and Teoscar Hernandez, they had 9 hits among those 4 players. The one person that didn't get a hit was Max Muncy. I'm looking at Muncy today. I think this team is so good, Doug, in terms of talent, that they can just pass around these hits. And I think Max Muncy, I don't know if he's going to have a big game, because he hasn't had that moment yet since coming back from injury. But I think he's good enough for at least 1 hit. So give me Max Muncy on a hit. Make it an official play for me today.
All right. So I'm looking at the market right now. I'll find that price, but there's also total bases you can do. How about Otani's 2.5 at the over plus 100?
Wow.
RBIs, all these guys are a half. Ohtani to have an RBI is pretty ridiculous juice. It's over minus 210. Sorry, that's run scored minus 210 as he bats leadoff for LA. Mookie Betts starting to get things going. He's minus 125 on over a half for a run scored. Muncy's minus 115. I mean, the Dodgers could really put up a crooked number. The only thing I give a little pause to is they're much better against righties than they are lefties. So that's one element that I've been like, give it a little bit of pause there. So the Tigers go to the pen. Holton's out here, a lefty on lefty right here to face Manzado. So we'll see how this unfolds. It's 1-2 count right now. Again, leadoff batter Jose Ramirez on first. Pivotal moment. Guardians did so much. Do you know, Albert, they were 150-1 at the All-Star break just
Wow.
to win the division. Imagine
That's
if they can
insane.
advance. But Skubal, so nasty, got him in game 1, and now they got to win the next 2 games, but you can't win game 3 unless you win game 2. And we got a double play ball for Manzado. So a nice move by the Tigers. They go to the pen, get Horton out, and induces right where the shift. Shortstop takes it unassisted and throws to first. So a key play, key positioning. And that's one thing I took away from the unders yesterday, is just how on point the shifts were for all these situations yesterday.
Yeah, I think defense is becoming more paramount because of the way that they play in the regular season. Maybe there's not the same amount of emphasis, Doug. But from a betting, just from a viewer, just watching it on the screen, you could tell the defenses are night and day. Even last night in the Dodgers game, when the score is 10-5, you can tell that the defense are just a little more, crisp than in the regular season. So this is why I like postseason baseball. It's all pitching, it's all defense. Unless you're the Dodgers, they're trying to win this World Series by just scoring a ton of runs. That never happens, but we'll see what happens this year. But that was a big double play for the Tigers there. Really good move by Hinch to bring in the relief pitcher and getting and inducing a no out double play. That's big.
And yesterday, the Red Sox, I tweeted about this. So it was a big base hit. Judge was a little lollygally getting it to in right center, soft throw, and then it's second and third, and nobody out, I think. And then the next hit. Now you don't know the pitch was going to be the same location, but it kind of would have been a double play ball if it was first and third. Instead, it's a two RBI single. And so just that extra base you take end up being huge for the Red Sox as they got, guys home and everything. So we're through 4 and it remains 1-1. So big swing of events on defense in both the top half of the fourth and bottom half. The over-under's back to 5.5, Albert, and we have a pick'em game. Guardians minus $1.22. You're obviously on the right side of your total that just moved now to 5 over minus 137. So the juice is moving. And remember, I said this in yesterday's show. You can slide it at Bet Rivers, really nice tool. You can find the right, whether it be the side, the run line, the total. You can have it alt lines, basically, whatever you want. So we certainly have a pitcher's duel, although the starter for Detroit is out and the bullpen is going to see if they're up to the task to advance to the next round if the Tigers can get another road win here.
Yeah, very impressive stuff from the Tigers. I thought once the Guardians, got up to that early lead and it looked like Bybee was rolling, I thought the Guardians were going to run away with this, but that's the beauty of baseball. It just takes one inning, and the Tigers are actually pretty unlucky that it's tied 1-1. They could be up 2-1 or even more. So I'm interested to see how the back half of this game goes, bullpen games, and I just like. When it comes to both lineups, Doug, I just like the fact that, Jose Ramirez, for example, a 4th inning, 9-pitch walk. I think the Guardians in the last month or so, they just seen the ball really well and working the count. And I think they're going to continue to put pressure on these Tigers pitchers because, with Holton, he's not going to be in there long. I think he's maybe going to see another batter or two. And then after that, we'll see another one. So I think the Guardians are built for this type of postseason baseball.
Yeah, how concerned are you with Bybee? Because I am. I thought he looked shaky, a lot of walks. Look, it could be the wind, it could be the pressure, whatnot, but he didn't look sharp giving up the. I mean, this was a microscopic tag delay from being 2-1 with 2 on and scoring position. Instead, it was take a run off the board and the third out of the inning. So he's really lucky by the defense and the tag by Ramirez at third. But that doesn't mean Bybee's all of a sudden going to kind of regain his form here.
Yeah, I mean that's true. And I haven't looked at every single pitch, but just looking at the numbers from a macro perspective, Doug, 76 total pitches, 51 of those are strikes. So not bad, right? In terms of finding the zone or not. He has given up 4 hits. He has walked 2 batters. So he definitely needs to clean that up. At most, I would probably see him, going into the 6, maybe 6 1/3, 6 2/3. I wouldn't extend him for further than that. I wouldn't get him to 100 pitches. What about you?
I think it's a lot depends on how he looks. I trust Francona here. He's gonna know his pitchers. He knows what he has in the bullpen. Just remind everyone, no ghost runner in the playoffs, so it's conventional baseball or old school baseball. He did get a nice can of corn to left for the first out of the inning, so maybe he's settling down. I guess there are no can of corns in this win, but for the most part it was. And I think you just got to trust your guy. But you're right, it's not the regular season. You don't want to. Sometimes you leave a guy in to build trust for the long haul and build trust with the rest of your staff. But this is an elimination game for Cleveland, so you got to have all hands on deck, and you can't mess around. So short leashes across the board. But Francona, he's earned the right to have the deference. And this is important for all sports decision making, everything. Just because something doesn't work out doesn't mean it was the wrong decision. It can just be a bad result. So things can make a lot of sense, and he goes with it. For example, all the Yankee fans crying, right? And this is something I learned a lot talking to some former coaches and things like that. Everyone assumes in life, not just sports, that the path untraveled would be successful. So every Yankee fan saying, should have left Fried in, should have left Fried. They're just assuming Fried would have got all the guys out.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what if he gave up a grand slam? Like, we don't know. Obviously, we know the option they chose didn't work, but that doesn't mean the alternative path untraveled would have been successful. And that's important to realize. Now, there are times where guys get yanked and it's inexplicable and it's the dumbest thing ever and it doesn't work out and you're shaking your head. Oh, for sure. And that's what criticism, that's what sports talk radio is for. But let's also understand we don't have a placebo effect on this stuff. And it's not necessarily automatic that the alternative path would have been an alternative outcome.
Plus, Tito is one of those guys where he's forgotten more about baseball than we will ever know about baseball, right? He's one of the greatest, of this era. And if you look at for example, if you look at their payroll, Doug, the Guardians are the 26th highest payroll in the major leagues, and they're hosting a wild card game. So he knows exactly what he's doing. Bybee just gave up a hit with 2 outs, so he got 2 outs really quickly. But now, there's a runner on first, so hopefully he clean it up. We'll see. But he was rolling before that hit.
And the over-under is now 5, overs -125. Guardians slight favorites here, $1.43, as Albert alluded to, 2 outs in the top of the 5th inning. So if you're under the first 5, things like that. That's quite the sweat on the first 5 action if you have that. So quite the drama with runs coming off the board, things like that. Certainly good stuff. Okay. Good stuff across the board. We have our official plays. Albert, you're on the Cubs as an official play. You're also on the Yankees run line.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the Dodgers first 5 run line and also the under in the Cubs Padres game. I'm just going to bank on that Padres lineup and the Cubs lineup not being that special. Hopefully Cease can keep things together and Kittredge can get things together as an opener in the for the Cubbies and keep those Padres runners at bay, so to speak. So in terms of the rest of the week, Albert, that's going to do it for you. I'm back on with Chris Massero tomorrow for some hardball, as we're going to have shows all week, including Friday. So the Bull will be on Friday with Chris, and they'll look ahead to the weekend as playoff baseball obviously reaching, top form, so to speak. So a lot going on. The WNBA Finals matchup is set. Sarah and Wes will be in on Friday to preview Game 1 and Game 2, for that matter, as things get going in Las Vegas for the WNBA Finals. We have some futures on the line with the Mercury, so a lot of good stuff here on the Bet Rivers Network and Betting Weekly umbrella. We've been giving out some solid picks. Hopefully that continues. But for Albert Nguyen and everyone behind the scene, including producers Shane and Alex, I'm Doug Kezirian. Best of luck to everyone out there with your wagers, and we'll see you back here next time.